Hey guys, welcome to the Steelers Xtreme podcast with your host Iowa Steeler. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the recent Giants game, a couple other little things that are kind of in the news with the Steelers right now, so we'll get on with it. Um, my thoughts on the Giants game: I thought it was a pretty good game, good win. Giants aren't a bad team. I think they were 8-3 coming in. We made them 8-4, so that was a good win over a decent team. They have a good, tough defense. Their offense isn't half bad. I mean, they got receivers like Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham Jr., so when you got guys like that to throw the ball to, I'll admit I was a little worried going into that game, especially with our secondary, which can be shaky at times. I was really worried that Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz were going to victimize us a little bit, but Victor Cruz was pretty much a non-factor. Odell Beckham Jr., he had an impact on the game. I think he had like 100 yards receiving, but he didn't do a whole lot more than that besides cry about the officiating, which is honestly my opinion on Odell Beckham. I can't stand that kid. All he does is complain. All he does is whine. Whenever he doesn't get his way, he throws tantrums. So, sort of my open opinion on Odell Beckham: grow up, dude. Quit acting like a baby. This is the NFL. You're not going to get calls every single time. There's things that you could be called on that you're not getting called on every time. Like, you're not just an innocent little victim that's being picked on and, singled out. So get over it, dude. But anyways, I was worried about this game. But, we came in, we got the job done. The defense, they had a few lapses, but for the most part, I felt like the defense played really strong. They pressured Eli Manning. They forced him to make mistakes. They got turnovers. The offense was a little more stale, and again, I think that's problems with the wide receiver 2 position. We don't have a receiver outside of Antonio Brown right now that can consistently catch the ball and threaten the defense. This is where not having Martavis Bryant, because he's suspended, is really hurting this team. And Sammy Coates having 2 broken fingers on his left hand or whatever, that's also absolutely killing us. We don't have that other receiver that can consistently take the top off of a defense and force, the secondary to pay more attention to him. So Antonio Brown's getting all the attention right now. He's still making plays. That's how good he is. But he's getting all the attention. And then our second best receiver is Le'Veon Bell. I mean, we have Eli Rogers, we have Kobe Hamilton. These guys are making plays here or there, but they're not entirely consistent. They need to get better. So, all in all, not a bad game. I really, in particular, like a guy I've been watching the past few weeks who's really been playing well, Mike Mitchell, safety in the secondary. Mike Mitchell's been playing awesome. I mean, he's fun to watch. He's out there. He's an enforcer over the middle of the field. You can see receivers watching out for him in the game. Like, it's just nice seeing that we have that enforcer. And he's putting it all together, too, because he's not only just laying the wood on people. Mike Mitchell is stepping up and, making good plays in coverage as well. So I think it's pretty fantastic to see that. Sean Davis is making plays. Sean Davis is making, tackles and not missing tackles like he was earlier in the season. So it's nice to see a rookie coming along like that. Same thing with Artie Burns. I think Artie Burns has been hit and miss, but that's what's going to happen when you're a cornerback starting in the Steelers defense as a rookie. That doesn't ever happen for a reason. The fact that he's playing says a lot. He's very raw talent, but he's been improving throughout the course of the season. We've seen him make some interceptions. We've seen him bat down some passes, and when he's batting down these passes, a lot of times it's in key situations. He's stopping a touchdown pass or something along those lines. And this defense as a whole really is designed to bend but not break. So when things are working, we give up some yardage, between the 20s, but once we get down into that red zone, that's when the defense really comes into their own. They shut down the opposing offenses in the red zone. They hold them to field goals. They cause turnovers. They wreak a little havoc there. They've been really good in the red zone this year. And I think that's more important a lot of times than anything. And this defense will get better as when we draft. I'm looking forward to next year's draft, and we're supposed to have some salary cap room next year. So hopefully we'll get some pass rushers in, and then this defense is really going to be good. I think that once we get some pass rushers in and a little more depth on the defensive line, basically that front seven needs a little bit of attention, particularly at the outside linebacker position. And on the defensive line, we just need depth, because behind Hargrave, behind Tuitt, and Hayward, there's not a lot of depth on that D-line. So, this defense is starting to come together. I mean, you're seeing flashes of greatness from them. It's just they're a few puzzle pieces away, I think, from being, stellar. So, and I hope I'm right on that. But all in all, good game. It was fun to watch. A little stressful at times, but it was nice to watch them beat a good team and beat them soundly. I mean, the score ended up being like 20. I think it was 28-14. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that wasn't the whole tale of the game right there. I mean, we pretty soundly whooped their butts like most of the game, so that was a good game. The other thing I wanted to touch base on, I recently made a post on our social media page about Antonio Brown and a little incident in Pittsburgh at like a Planet Fitness. One of the local news agencies there in Pittsburgh posted an article. Apparently a woman was unhappy because these people wait in line. Antonio Brown shows up late. They were promised pictures with Antonio Brown. They were promised autographs. The only thing they got, I guess, some of them got autographs. That's what I read in the article anyways. So take that with a grain of salt, because who knows what the complete truth is unless you were there. But my opinion that I posted was not in any way supposed to be an attack on Antonio Brown. I love AB. He's one of my favorite players. He's a Steeler. I'll support him to the ends of this earth. So don't question my loyalty to this team. I spend a lot of time on the social media page. I spend a lot of time moderating Steelers forums and have for a little while now. I used to be over on Steelers Xtreme. I was moderating over there, and then I was an admin for a short period of time before that site went down. I put a lot of time into Steelers and into this stuff. So, it eats up a lot of my free time. It's just an opinion that I had. I was just a little bit disappointed in Antonio Brown because he can do better. I can do better at things in life. People criticize me. I get criticized at work for things, and then what do you do with that? You take criticism and you improve yourself. My hope was that Antonio Brown would see that post. The likelihood of him seeing it is probably next to nothing. The guy sees millions of posts from people every day. But if he at least knows that people are a little bit disappointed with the situation and how it was handled, I think Antonio Brown's going to make that right, because he's that kind of guy. It's like, I know that he wears the cleats and supports good causes, supports our troops, stuff like that, does a lot of charitable acts. I would never say Antonio Brown's a bad person. I think he's an awesome person. I think he's a very bright young man. Sometimes he gets a little wrapped up in his own ego, as we've seen with the excessive celebrations after touchdowns that cost the team penalties, but he's a young kid. And he's got a phenomenal amount of talent. But that doesn't put you above criticism. So I'm not going to apologize for my opinion. My opinion on here is that if you don't like it, don't read it. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you're going to read into that too deeply and you think that I hate the Steelers or I hate Antonio Brown, then you shouldn't be on here reading opinions on the internet. Anywho, that's my thoughts on that. The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on, obviously, if you watch the Giants game, and even if you didn't watch it, you've probably read it online, Ramon Foster got fined. I think it was almost $10,000 for pulling a Giants player, I don't even remember what player it was, off of the pile late in the game. They made kind of a gang tackle on Le'Veon Bell during a running play. And this particular Giants defensive lineman is shoving his hand up in Le'Veon Bell's face under his face mask. If you watch the game, the Giants were were pretty dirty and doing a lot of shit after the play. A lot of extracurricular crap. I think a lot of it was frustration because Le'Veon Bell was pretty well unstoppable, and they were just frustrated. They were getting their butts kicked. So they were being dirty and shoving their hands in his face mask. I mean, that's what I saw. I watched the entire game front to back. Ramon Foster saw that happen on this particular play. He took exception to it, understandably so, and then he grabbed that guy off the pile and tossed him like a rag doll. I'd have done the same thing if I was Ramon Foster. If I was still playing football like I was in high school and I saw somebody do that to my teammate, I'm going to take them off the pile and throw their ass. You don't let people do that. You don't let people do those kinds of dirty things to your teammates. That's something that can get somebody hurt. There's no place for that in the game of football. And I have absolutely no problem with what Ramon Foster did in that situation. Ramon Foster was sticking up for his teammate. Plain and simple. Shame on the NFL for fining him for that. Where is the fine for the player? And maybe they fine the other player. I haven't read anything about that. All the articles I've said talk about Ramon Foster's fine, but they haven't mentioned anything about a fine for the Giants player. So I'm not sure if they fined him or not. But if they didn't, shame on them, because that guy should have been fined for all the extracurricular horse crap in the pile. Plain and simple. I mean, you should not be shoving your hand up in somebody's face mask. You shouldn't be twisting ankles or any of this. The NFL needs to put their foot down on this kind of dirty behavior. This isn't 70s football. Kids watch this stuff nowadays. You know, these guys, in a way, are role models. Like, yes, it's football, and I like when, you know, we have rivalries and we have those nasty attitudes that make games fun to watch. But at the same time, you have a lot of kids watching this stuff. These guys are role models. And when you're doing that kind of dirty stuff, you're showing kids, you don't know who's watching this game. Some kid could be watching you, idolizing you, and you're doing dirty stuff. What are they going to do when they grow up and play football? They're going to think something like that's okay because they saw their favorite player do it. So guys like that need to keep that kind of thing in mind. There's no place for the dirty crap in football. Like, just play the game within the rules. Is it really that hard? I mean, we got guys like Vontaze Burfict that are complete scumbags that go around twisting ankles, spitting on people, hitting people in the nuts, stuff like that, and get away with it. It's ridiculous. It's on video. The NFL knows about it. And it takes them way too long to deal with these people. They let them get away with so much, and then they give them like a slap on the wrist like 2 or 3 games. Like the same thing that somebody gets for like a first offense marijuana, issue. Like, come on. The dirty stuff should be a focus in the NFL. They need to put a stop to it. That's just my opinion. But anyways, that's kind of just some of the things I wanted to touch on with you guys today. Just a quicker podcast than what I would normally do. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, you know, the podcast, it's the Steelers Xtreme podcast, but these are my opinions. Iowa Steeler, they are in no way a total reflection of Steelers Xtreme Forum as a whole. Same thing with anything that gets posted by me on the social media page, and most everything you guys are going to read on there on the social media is going to be from me. I usually try to put my name with it, but sometimes I forget. But usually it's from me. Those are my opinions and stuff. They're not a reflection of Steelers Xtreme Forum. I just want to put that out there. If you disagree with me, you disagree with my opinion, fine, but don't bash the forum for it, because it's not their opinion. They're not part of it. You know, I just help run the social media page for them. So I put some of my own opinions out there, and that's why I try to put my name on it, so that you guys know, so that it's mine. Come after me if you're going to come after anybody for that kind of stuff. So I'll gladly debate things with you. I'll gladly discuss anything. I love that kind of stuff. So, you know, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Here on YouTube, you know, subscribe to the channel. Give us a like if you enjoyed it. Or stop by the forums. Engage in discussion on there. You register on the forum. It's completely free. So have a great day, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast.